All right, shoot, Dolan.
The worst possible thing you could say when you walk into a car dealership. I spent 5 years with Mercedes-Benz, 5 with General Motors, and the worst thing a person could say when they walk in is, if you could just get me to this payment, we got a deal.
So your loan's probably still like 19, which means you got to pay to get out. You're upside down. It's called negative equity.
What's going on, everybody? We are officially kicking off episode 1 of Car Shopping Questions and Answers. I am your host, Deshone the Auto Advisor. We're going to do this show for about an hour. I'm excited to get really down into the nitty-gritty of showing you how you can buy cars, lease cars, and get below market prices. And if you don't know me, I spent 14 years in the car business, 5 with Mercedes-Benz, 5 with General Motors. And now what we do is we devote our time and our energy into teaching you how to car shop with strategy, how to understand the things that you haven't been taught to understand. So we do rapid fire Q&A. And no matter where you're at, I want you to start typing your questions. We're live on 4 platforms right now. And this whole broadcast is going to be sponsored by my new book. It's a digital book. It's called Cars from Home: 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. There's a link in every single post so you can get your copy at 75% off for the next 30 minutes. But while we're here, let's go deep. And everything I'm going to be teaching you is going to be out of my book. And all of your questions are going to be answered in one of our 7 steps. So start typing your questions. I got my man Dolan in the background. I see a lot of people on TikTok, but I don't see the questions coming in on TikTok yet. And TikTok, y'all usually are the ones that send the questions the fastest. So let's get these questions up. And so Dolan can start loading them onto the show and we can get down to business. So Dolan, kick us off when you're ready. 75%. Yes, 75% off is today, SS. That's from YouTube. Yes, you can get it for the next 30 minutes. It's normally $97. But it'll be in your inbox in about 5 minutes at 75% off. So let's go, Dolan. When you're ready, if we've got the first question, let's kick it off. Okay, this one's from YouTube. Hello. Thank you for all your advice. We're looking at the car on Copart, and it was a salvage title. What is your experience with these types of auctions? So I don't get into teaching about salvage titles. I'm going to tell you why. I consider that to be like foreclosures. I'm not telling you that there's anything wrong with these cars. What I am saying is they're like foreclosures in real estate, which means you should be learning from someone who actually lives that life every day, because there are many risks. When a normal person starts entering into a high risk market, the rewards could be high, but also the risks are high. So I would tell you to find someone who's buying salvage title, buying at auction, and learn from that person. Okay, go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one up. Okay, this one's from Instagram. I got a lease with Nissan, not looking to go back to Nissan. Should I buy it out and then trade the vehicle in for what I want? This is a great question. First of all, can everybody hit the share button? And if you're on TikTok, can y'all just start tapping the screen and light this up? Because we want to set people free, and it takes all of us to do this. It takes the people who are committed to this mission. You want to save money. You also want your friends to save money. Tag somebody. They'll thank you. So this is a great question. The only time it makes sense financially to buy a lease is when you're keeping it another 8 years. I'm going to tell you why. I'm teaching something called the 8-year rule, because what you guys have to learn is the unseen expense. The unseen expense is depreciation. That's the expense you haven't been taught to see. You haven't been taught to focus on it. It's depreciation. That's the reason why when you buy a car today for $30,000, tomorrow, if you tried to sell it, it's not worth 30,000 anymore. It's worth 25. It's worth 24, whatever. That's depreciation. So when you keep your car long term, your car's value goes down like this. But when you keep it long term, the depreciation starts to level out. When you buy your lease, all you're doing is buying a pre-owned car. That's all you're doing. Yes, it's a lease that you had, but you have to start seeing it as it's just a used car. So you want to ask yourself, should I buy a used car and then turn around and sell it? That's what you're talking about. Now, Coach Mojo, we don't buy leases. What we do is we see if we can sell them for a profit. If you didn't know you could sell a lease, I want you to type a 1 in the chat. We're going to be peeling back a lot of things you're going to discover as you listen and you stay in this community. You can sell a lease. Most of you have heard of the term lease with the option to buy, but you're not familiar with lease with the option to sell. You have those rights no matter what. 9 times out of 10, we're going to exercise our option to sell. And how you sell, there's 3 ways to sell. There's 3 different types of what I call an equity assessment. This is step 2 in my book. You must do an equity assessment. If you have ever dropped your lease off to a dealership and you haven't done this, then you could have given them thousands of dollars without knowing. So what you're going to do is do an equity assessment by calling the bank, finding out how much you owe. You want to get your payoff. That's going to tell you, let's say it's $18,500. That's your customer payoff. Now what you want to do is you want to see who will pay you more than that, or at least that amount. And we don't go to dealerships for that. We go right online. This takes 20 minutes to do. We're going to go to CarMax.com, Driveway, Carvana, Kelly's Blue Book Instant Cash Offer, AutoNation, and Car Guru Sell My Car. This is going to get us 6 offers, cash offers. See, our cars are not worth what an algorithm tells us our cars are worth. Our cars are worth what a person is willing to pay for today. And when you see those numbers, that's going to tell you if you have equity versus not having equity. So the short version of your question is, Coach Mojo, you shouldn't be buying your car unless you're planning on keeping it another 8 years, because we teach something called the 8-year rule, which is if you're not keeping your car 8 years, you're not going to outlive the depreciation drop in value. So you shouldn't be buying it. You should be leasing. And I know a lot of you probably, oh, well, Deshone, I was taught never lease. I was taught don't lease. I was taught don't lease. Well, you're going to find out the more you stay here, as you just dive in to financial numbers we go over, you're going to see that that's bad advice. And unfortunately, millions of people have been subject to bad advice that has been costing them money. Okay, so we'll go more into detail on that. There's only 2 ways to beat depreciation. Long-term ownership, that's our 8-year plus people. If you're keeping your cars, your next car, if your plan is to keep it 8+ years, I want you to type K in the comments for keeper. Type K in the comments if your next car, you're like, Deshone, my next car, I want to keep it at least 8 years. I want you to type a K. All right? Now, if you are not keeping your car at least 8 years, then you should be shopping for a lease, because that's how you're going to avoid depreciation. We're going to talk more about leasing, because you cannot just get any lease. You have to get what I call a good value lease. We'll go more into detail on that. But that's the foundation, Coach Mojo. Answer those questions first before you think about anything else. All right? Go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next question up, man. Keep typing the questions, y'all. We're bringing them from all platforms. This one's from TikTok. What to do if you have no pre-approval letter, even with a 730 score? Okay, great question. We don't focus on pre-approval letters. What we focus on is making sure, all right, so I teach something called the bank bidding war. Everything we're going to do from now on is going to be a bid. Could y'all keep tapping the screen on TikTok? I see y'all running the lights up. When y'all keep tapping the screen, what it does is let TikTok know, listen, more people need to get over here, because we're talking about something that everyone needs to hear. So I appreciate y'all. Look, they're running them up. What to do if you have no pre-approval letter. So we were taught always get pre-approved. But here's the problem. People got onto it. Whenever we do something and the public starts moving in a way, the big companies adjust to it and they find a way to infiltrate it. Most of the companies that you are trying to get pre-approved from, that I'm trying to get pre-approved from, their goal is to isolate us. Something called restricted pre-approvals. I'm gonna tell you what a restricted pre-approval is and why we stay away from them. A restricted pre-approval limits where you can shop. We'll approve you, but only to shop with Carvana. We'll approve you, but only to shop with our dealer network. We'll approve you, but only to shop with a drive time dealer. Because a pre-approval is the whole purpose when you learn how we shop, which is to shop wide. When you start seeing to shop wide and get multiple offers and see the entire 100-mile radius within where you live as a huge market where people are competing to sell you a car, you'll start seeing why we never want to deal with a restricted pre-approval. So what we do is we use something called the bank bidding war. The only way, how many people have asked themselves, did I get the best interest rate? Type dollar signs. If you've asked yourself ever, you bought a car and you said, did I really get the best interest rate? Type a dollar sign if you've wondered that. See, the only way to get something we call price assurance, which is to guarantee. See, these are powerful words that I want you to add to your vocabulary when you're car shopping. We need to guarantee that we got the best interest rate. How do we do that? Getting bids. Experian wrote an article. They allow you to have multiple lenders pull your credit with a hard pull and compete and give you rates within a 14 to 45 day period. Now, don't ask me why they say 14 to 45 days. That's the window. I'm going to teach you how to do it in a way where it'll only take you 2 days and you're going to let tons of people run your credit and you're going to guarantee you got the best rate, and it's going to weigh on your score like one hard inquiry. So if one hard inquiry would have dropped your score 9 points, natural. We buy a car, a hard inquiry is going to drop our score. That's natural. But we're going to get 20 hard inquiries and it's going to drop our score the exact same way. This is how it works. You do not let anyone run your credit under any circumstances until after you find your car. In my book, I have something called the Perfect Budget Calculator. I created this tool. What it does is it's going to tell you, it's going to give you multiple goals. It's going to tell you exactly what car you can afford. It's going to tell you how to be under your max monthly payment. And you put everything you want to put in, what your max monthly payment is, we use the standard interest rate. So whatever the interest rate is at this time, we use that. Budget. The only purpose for a pre-approval is to budget. Think about some of you who are homeowners. The only purpose in getting pre-approved was to budget so that you can go buy your house, right? You with me? That's the only purpose. If we don't get pre-approved, we don't know how much we could afford. So when we do, what we do is we take the average interest rate, and that's what we're going to use to estimate our payments. This is in my book. See, I created technology. So some of you are saying, Deshone, is this just a book? No, it's not just a book. I have links in there. I have links to videos in there. I have platforms that I've created and calculators and tools that I created that I wish I could refer to you. No, but they're only in my book. So you can get the book. I'm going to teach you how to do things the manual way. Some things you can say, Deshone, I could do that manually. But if I'm telling you about a tool I created to use so that it can budget for you, then the only way to get it is to actually get my book. You can get it for 75% off in my TikTok bio. You can get it in my Instagram bio. You can go to deshonesbook.com, or you can scan the QR code and get your copy for 75% off for 30 minutes. But when you budget, you know exactly how much you can spend on a car, and you go find your car under that budget. The Perfect Budget Calculator is going to give you multiple goals. See, here's the problem. When you go out shopping for a car, you notice how you have a budget in mind and you typically tend to go over it. You say, I don't want to spend any more than $500, or I don't want to spend any more than $30,000. But you usually end up going over it because you don't factor in tax. You don't factor in how long the loan, you don't factor these things in. Okay, well, how much? They said I'm pre-approved for $30,000, but What does that equate to in a monthly payment? It's broken. It's a broken system. When we go out, we find the car we're looking for. That's when we are going to now let people run our credit. Never before that. We go out, you find your best deal on a car. That's when you come home and you let multiple people run your credit and fight it out to give you an interest, to give you a loan. See, because if you open up, if you let people run your credit before this, now they're going to give you a time limit. So even this is all answering this young lady's question about pre-approvals. The reason why they're garbage is because if it's a hard pull, they're garbage, because now they've started that window that I told you about. You got 14 to 45 days and it starts to count down. Now you're trying to rush and find a car. Some of us, it might take us 3 months to find the best deal on our car. If you got a pre-approval and the time is expiring, you're shopping with your back against the wall. Second reason it's garbage is because once they give you a pre-approval, you are now tied to them and you don't have the opportunity to bid, and it's just garbage. So do what I'm telling you to do. When you find your car, that's when you're going to come home and you are going to now let people run your credit, and then you are going to let the dealer see if they can beat it. See, this is a must. I know you may have been taught, oh, I don't let that dealer run my credit. No, make them compete. The bad part is when a dealer is trying to give you an interest rate when you have no offer. That's bad. But when you have an offer, that's when he's trying to beat it. And that's a very different thing. You tell him, hey, I got 7.2 from whatever bank. That's the best offer I got. Okay. Now that dealer goes to work with their 7 to 12 bank. Hey, listen, can we beat this? And when he calls you, he's going to tell you one or two things. Hey, good news. I was able to beat that interest rate. In which case, you what? Guarantee you got the lowest interest rate. Or he's going to say, listen, I tried my best. I talked to every bank I got. Nobody could beat that rate. In which case, what? You still what? Guarantee you got the best interest rate. So the only way we're going to be able to do that is with bids. We're going to stop negotiating. We're going to start making people bid. That's what we're all about here. Go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next one up. I'm going to try to get through these. I'm going to try to give, see, I can't do short answers to some questions. Okay, hold on. Yeah, hold on. Link to 75% off is not working. Are y'all able to click it on TikTok? Let me know on TikTok if y'all are able to access the 75% off. Okay, this one's from YouTube. My credit score is between 500 and 600. Can I still get a nice car? Great question. You should be focused on getting a great car, and you should be, all right. My credit score is between 500 and 600. Can I still get a nice car? Under no circumstances do you ever want to compromise on the car. Follow me. You are going to focus on getting a great car, knowing I'm probably going to pay more in interest. Paying more in interest is not bad considering your situation. Here's why. That can be fixed. Refinance, that can be fixed. But if you get a bad car, that cannot be fixed. So we have resources. I use a company. I refer people to LendBuzz. LendBuzz will work with people who have challenged credit. But here's what you got to know. You can't let them dictate how you're going to shop. You must have your own shopping strategy. Now, there's two situations where if you have bad credit, how many years are you keeping the car? That's the question. If it's 8+ years, then no problem. I'm going to get the best car I can find. I'm going to pay a little bit more in interest, but as soon as my credit's good, I'm going to refinance that loan. Problem solved. Second person is Deshone. I'm not keeping my car 8 years, but I need a car now. Perfect. You should be trying to set yourself up for a lease in 2 years, in which case you want to get the least expensive car that you can get a loan on. $10,000, $12,000. You're going to use that perfect budget calculator, or you just want to say $10,000 to $12,000. You're going to try to find a car in that range. I'm going to tell you why. In 2 years, when you go to trade out of that car, if you go and buy yourself a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 car, you're going to have a bunch of negative equity. And what that's going to do is that's going to stop you from getting a lease. This is what people do. Oh, Deshone, I couldn't qualify for a lease, so I'm gonna go out. I want to get that Dodge Charger with the big engine in it because I can't sacrifice for 2 years. I can't be out here looking like I don't have a nice car, problem. I can't help you. But if you're willing to say, because I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. When you get that Dodge Charger, you usually forced your way into it, bought an older one, paying a high payment, high interest. So in 2 years, when you think you're gonna trade out of it and go lease, you're gonna have a hard time because the negative equity is gonna be so severe. And when you have that $600, $700, $800, $900 car payment, chances are you might miss one of them. This is a disaster because we can't sacrifice. So what I'm telling you to do is say, all right, if Deshaun's telling me that the best move financially is for me to be leasing because I'm not keeping my cars 8 years, I need to be getting great leases, but I can't qualify, then my mission is to qualify. That's my mission. So when I look at what that take, what did that take? That means I'm going to get a car now, and that's going to be my sacrifice car. That's going to be my car that I drive for 2 years, build my credit. It's not going to be my perfect car. My perfect car is going to be when I drive a brand new lease off the lot 2 years from now. This is my setup car. So I'm going to make sure I get a low price car where I won't miss a payment. I'm going to build that payment history. I'm going to have minimal negative equity. And then in 2 years, I'm going to make a power move. That's the short term and the long term. That's why it's important to know, is this a long-term car or is this a short-term car? Very important to know. If it's long-term, I told you what to do. You buy a car, refinance later. Short-term, you should be setting yourself up for at least in 2 years. Buy yourself an inexpensive car, low loan, small loan, and get ready to trade that in 2 years. But you must get a great car. In either situation, you can't sacrifice the quality of the car or the whole plan goes to hell. Your car breaks down midway, plan is scrap the plan. So we never compromise. So check this out. I see as soon as you purchase the book, I give you a support email because I do not DM me about products. Everyone gets a support email because we want to handle those issues immediately. DMs I barely see. Thank God we got 2 million plus followers. I can barely see DM. That's why as soon as you get a book, I say screenshot this screen. If you don't get that book within 5 to 10 minutes, check your spam, check your junk. Then you go and you contact support and we'll make sure we email you that copy manually. Okay, because that's what we do. Don't DM, use that support email so we can make sure we take care of you. All right, shoot the next one up, Dolan. Great question so far. What would dealers try to sell you a car that has issues? Don't sign up for these answers. That's why does the sun rise in the east and set in the west? Some questions are not worth trying to answer. Just plan accordingly and move accordingly, knowing these things are. If the people who are supposed to be taking care of you with cars are not educating you, are not moving with integrity, then you better be educated. Remember that. If the people who are supposed to be taking care of your money, when you come to buy a car, lease a car, that's a $10,000 to $100,000 transaction, some of you. If those people are not moving with integrity, and you cannot guarantee that, a smile doesn't guarantee that, talking nice doesn't guarantee that, you better be educated. And the people who are going to move like the way we're going to move, the way you're going to move if you're listening to this, the way you're going to move if you have my strategies in my book, the way you're going to move when you learn how to car shop online and make people bid, you're going to be educated where no one can take advantage of you. You're empowered. You're the one in control. You're the prize. You're the one people are competing with to earn their business. And that's what I want for you. All right, go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one up. This one's from Facebook. I'm about to begin the process of buying a car from a dealership. They're offering me a lowered payment if I go with one of their lenders. Are there any ways to save on this deal? So have you gotten bids? See, look, you were programmed to be loyal to dealers. I'm from the industry. I was in the industry for 14 years. I'm teaching people all around the country. We have over close to 8,000 customers that have used our stuff and used our products since 2021. We have data from all around the country. There is absolutely no way that you're going to get your best deal ever focusing on one dealer. That would be like you going into a supermarket and say, hey, no matter what the price of this item is, I'm only buying it from this brand. Or you saying, oh, I'm gonna buy a TV. No matter what I'm just gonna walk into Walmart and whatever the best price on the TV is that I see, I'm just gonna take that. I'm not gonna look online, I'm not gonna look on Amazon, I'm not gonna look on Best Buy. I'm just gonna walk into one store committed to try to get a deal with that store. That's the same thing you're doing. Could y'all keep running the likes up on TikTok, keep tapping the screen? If you're getting value out of this, I appreciate it. We don't do that anymore. That is a recipe. And look, I'm going to tell you something, and I hope you don't take offense to it. Our grandparents shopped like that. In what way in 2024, 2025, almost 20 years, 30 years after the internet's being invented, you're still shopping like our grandparents shopped? Does that make sense? It makes sense when you're like, yeah, Deshone, that's what I'm doing. But it doesn't make sense in the grand scheme of why am I doing this? It's because that's what you were taught to do. That's why I represent unlearn, relearn. You can't win with what I teach unless you're willing to scrap all that bad knowledge. We don't buy from one dealer. 3 transactions that people have been, I'm gonna break this down real quick in literally a second so y'all understand. There's 3 transactions that you've been taught to give to car dealers. 3. Buying your car from them is one transaction. Who you get your loan from is another transaction. Who you sell your old car to is a 3rd transaction. And many of you have been taught to give the dealer all 3. Meanwhile, there are people who only want to give you a loan. They don't sell cars. They want to compete for your loan. There's other people who want to buy your old car. They don't sell cars. They want to buy your old car. Y'all get what I'm saying? Type a Y for yes, if you're understanding that you have to start breaking these transactions into their own transactions. You can't maximize and guarantee you're getting your best deal mixing 3 transactions or 2 transactions into one. You can't do it. We're breaking them up. And now once we break them up, how do we guarantee we get the best offer in each one? Bids. So you understand? So what we're doing is we need to see our old car, our old lease, our old car that we have that we're replacing. Who I'm going to sell that car to is one transaction. And whoever's going to win the bid gets the car. Who I'm going to get my loan from, that's another transaction. And whoever wins the bid gets my loan. Who I'm going to buy my car from, that's another transaction. And who's going to win the bid gets the car, gets to sell me the car. And we do this in 60 minutes. See, what you're going to see, watch this. Let me show you Frina. Frina just picked up her Jeep last week. Look at the deal she got. This is why you're never going to get these deals walking in the dealers. You're never going to be able to guarantee your best deal walking in the dealers. You're going to sit at home and be in control. Look at Frina's deal. She said, look, I'm a proud graduate. Cars from Home that's our video library. And, like I said, I coach people all around the country. She said, I picked up this baby yesterday. Look at the date. 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee Anniversary Edition. Followed the program, used all the scripts. I have scripts in my book. I have scripts that we don't talk. Because if you have to talk, you run the risk of messing something up. No offense. I'd rather you type. If you'd rather type than talk, type a 1. So contacted the dealers, sealed the deal, $579 a month. Look at the MSRP on this car. She got a hybrid one, $65,000 vehicle, almost 66. Her best deal, who won the bid, was a 0.88% lease. That is unheard of in the world. See, I teach something called the 1.5% rule for knowing when you're paying too much for a lease. The 1% rule has been around since way before I even got in the car business. If you could lease a car for 1% of the MSRP, no money down, no money out of pocket, you stole the car. This is 0.88%. I owe it all to Deshone. Without this program, I wouldn't have had the tools to shop from home. Shopping from home the right way is how you're going to win. Some of you may have tried, Deshone. I tried. It seems hard. Yeah, because once the internet was invented, internet salespeople got invented. And internet salespeople are trained to make it hard they got to make money. And what they're going to do is they're going to make it hard for you to get a deal done because half the time you don't even know the information you need to give them to get a quote. Hey, I got to give you where I work at, see if I qualify for any rebates. I got to tell you what cars are in my household, see if I qualify for any rebates. I got to tell you, what affiliations I have. I got to tell you what my date is. I have something called a no later than date. What's my deadline? Hey, I could buy a car, Deshone. I don't need a car for about 3 months. Should I start shopping now? Yes, you should. Because if you get in the market now and you can buy a car today, but you don't need it for 3 months, that's called leverage. See, most people walking in the dealers, they're like, hey, I need a car this week. I need a car today. That means the car that's coming 6 weeks from now, they can't benefit from that. You can. But you got to learn how to give this information. And this is why when you try to shop online, you have a hard time because you don't know. You're defensive and you're like, I'm not giving the dealer what they need, but I'm also not staying in a position where I don't give them too much information where they can use it against me. So that's what we'll learn. Everything I'm teaching you is, if I can boil it down to a couple simple things, mastering the science of shopping from home. That's why my book is called Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships, and making people bid for your business. We can sum that. Once you master those 2 things, you're going to save more money in 60 minutes than you ever saved going into dealers 2, 3, 4 times, spending hours in there. And you're going to have price assurance, which is guaranteeing that you couldn't have saved any more money. That's what Freenah has. That's what I want you to have. Go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next one up, brother. Keep typing your questions, y'all. We're bringing them in from all platforms. Let me bring Freenah's pick down. All right, perfect. Shoot the next one up. All right, I'm trying to fly through these, y'all, but I can't give short answers. You get what I'm saying? I got to give you the full answer. Can you get a great deal on the lease vehicles on a Range Rover? Okay, great question. You can't control the lease program. The lease program is what's going to dictate when the dealer wins the bid. Let's say a dealer, I always teach, when you start getting bids on a lease you should see about at least a $3,000 to $5,000 difference from your best offer to your worst offer. Now, sometimes it's more drastic than that. You're doing it, you'll see a $7,000 difference from your best offer to your worst offer, but you need to see a spread. I'm going to tell you why. 80% of dealers are overpriced. So when you start getting offers, if you don't get enough offers to where you see that spread, you haven't gotten enough offers. I teach you need to get at least 5. In my book, I have something called the 25 to 5 strategy. So once the whole purpose of a bid is to find the dealer that's willing to discount the car and sell the car lower than all their competitors. And if there's any rebates, to disclose them to you. That's only going to come through bids because you don't know who you're dealing with. An 80% dealer is not going to tell you all the rebates. An 80% dealer will tell you, okay, yeah, there's no rebates, but there actually is. 80% dealer is going to say, all right, yeah, there's $1,000 rebate. Hey, but there's actually $2,500. So you can't depend on an 80% dealer. You have to get multiple offers and reveal who the actual dealers are who is going to win the bid. Now, once that happens on a lease, the lease program is in the background. And if the lease program is trash, then you're going to be over 1.5%. And over 1.5% means the payment you're paying when it's more than 1.5% of the MSRP. That means you're paying too much for a car you're giving back. See, I was concerned to start making lease videos because I knew when people started finding out how good leasing was, they were going to just go into dealers and say, hey, work me up a lease. Problem with that is, if you don't know how to get a great lease, you're going to get a bad lease, sign up for it, and it's still going to be better than your history of purchasing. So you're going to think you won, but you left thousands of dollars on the table. So I don't want to teach you about going after leases until you learn how to get multiple offers so you can reveal the best deals. But what we do is we always with leases have 3 options because we can't control the lease program. And if we can't control the lease program, we need to have a bet. Because look, y'all, there's tons of companies out there that are offering bad leases and people are signing up for them. especially some luxury brands. Every car has a different lease program. Luxury brands will say, hey, we're going to put a bad lease out there because we know we can ego sell people, which means, hey, come on, Mr. Jones, come on. How long you been driving Range Rovers? Man, I've been driving them for 12 years. All right, well, come on. You really gonna leave Range Rover over a couple dollars? Yeah, but I mean, the lease seems kind of high. It seems like, I'd be better off buying the car. No. If you don't know that, they're going to ego sell you. So until people stop signing these bad leases, we are not going to get to the point where some of these banks say, all right, we got to stop with the bad lease deals. Now, conversely, opposite end, there's phenomenal lease deals out there. Like Yusuf Rina. I'll show you a couple more before we jump off the show. So it's harder to get a great lease deal because there's a lease program. It's easy to get a car if you're buying brand new through bids. Easy to save thousands of dollars. But we can't dictate the lease program. And we're not going to sign it. I will never say to you, sign a bad lease. Dealer will tell you, oh, look, I'm beating all my competition. Phil, man, look, I'm saving you like $6,000. Man, I wish I could lower the payment, but the lease program's not good. That's okay. That's why it only takes us 60 minutes to get these quotes. We don't want to spend hours to find out it's a bad lease program. We pick a car, we get our bids. Within 2 days, we're going to know if it's a bad lease program, in which case we move to our Plan B vehicle. Okay? So everything I'm teaching is out of my new book. It's called Cars from Home. It's a digital book. It's called Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. Your goal is to master the science of car shopping from home and to start making people bid for your business. All right, that's everything it's going to show you in 7 steps, and you can get it for 75% off in my TikTok bio, or you can get it in my Instagram bio, or you can get it in my you can go to deshonsbook.com or scan the QR code. Go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one up. This one's from TikTok. How do I get out of negative equity? 3 options for negative equity. That's it. And after I tell you these 3 options, I need you to know the cause. The cause is super important because I can give you a Band-Aid, but if you don't know the cause, you're going to continue to be in trouble. 3 options. 2 lead to a new car. 1 doesn't. Negative equity is the bad credit to people with good credit, because if you have too much, it will stop you from getting your car. So your first option with negative equity is to pay it off. Here's what happens. You want to use that equity assessment process that I told you about a little while ago. You're going to call your bank, find out what you owe. After you find out what you owe, you're going to go to those websites I mentioned, CarMax, Driveway, Carvana, Kelly's Blue Book Instant Cash Offer, AutoNation, Car Guru, Sell My Car. That's going to give you 6 cash offers. These people are bidding on cars every day. They usually put their best offer out there. In 30 minutes, you'll have 6 offers. They pay more than dealers on average. In fact, 2 or 3 of those bids you're going to get are actually from dealers. So it's a nice mix of offers. 3 of them are from online car buyers, CarMax, Driveway, Carvana. 3 of them are from car dealers, local car dealers. So it's a nice mix, but they're bidding. That's going to lead to the least amount of negative equity because remember, when you get bids, you're getting the most value. You're getting the most savings. You're getting the most money when you are getting bids. So let's just say you pull your payoff and it's $16,000. Your highest bid is $14,000. That means you have a $2,000 negative equity gap. You are much better off coming up with the $2,000 and paying that car off and going into your next transaction clean. That is the best way to go. Because now, if you can't do that, I'm going to tell you why it's the best way when I tell you the second way to get out of negative equity. If you can't pay the difference, then that means you must bring that car. You can't do a separate transaction with that car because you need the dealer who you're going to buy the car from to wrap the negative equity into the new deal. They are still going to win the bid. You must, in all cases, only deal with dealers who won the bid. But once they win the bid to sell you the car, now when you come to them, You're gonna now bring your old car into it and see what it's worth to them. When you see what they can pay for it, you're going to see in most cases, it is not going to be the highest number you got from the online buyers. So if the online buyer's highest number was 14, maybe that dealer can only pay 12,200, 12,500. And you might say to them, hey man, but CarMax was offering me this. They're not going to be able to match it in most cases. It's just not possible because they can't win both bids. If you start buying cars for the most money, selling cars for the least money, it won't take you long to be out of business. That's probably what happened to Vroom. They were buying cars for the most money and then trying to sell them, and they weren't able to make the profit. So we must separate the process, but if you can't pay the difference, you now must bring your old car into the process after a dealer wins the bid, introduce them, hey, this is the car. Now, they've already won the bid. They beat all their competition to sell you a car. So they've already proved they're a 20% dealer. Now you're bringing your old car, and you're going to see that if I would have sold it to them, I would only had 2,000 negative equity. But bringing it over to this transaction, I actually got like 3,700 negative equity. And there's nothing we can do about that. That's why I said the plan A is always, if you can cover the difference, cover the difference. If you can't, that's your only option. Now, here's the third thing. I told y'all 2 things lead to a new car with negative equity, 1 doesn't. If you have too much negative equity, you have to understand loan to value ratios. Loan to value ratios have nothing to do with credit scores. That's why I call negative equity the bad credit to people with good credit. When you bring your negative equity over, the bank is only going to lend a certain percentage above the price of the car. So if the price of the car is 30,000 and you have good credit, the bank might only lend 36. They might only lend 20% more, 25% more than the price of the car. So if you're coming over and you're trying to do a no money down deal, which is what we do, we shop with no money down. If we can make no money down deals and we can get the car payment to where we want, if we can get the whole deal to where we want with no money, that's what we do. You know, it's different when interest rates are higher. We typically put more money down to avoid paying more high interest. But when it comes to us shopping, we always shop with no money down. So if you're trying to do a no money down deal and you are trying to bring all this negative equity over and trying to not just finance the price of the car, but the tax, the fees, and negative equity, you run the risk of blowing out the loan to value ratios, in which case you're not going to be approved. You could have a 900 credit score. They're going to tell you you got to put money down because you can't finance all that negative equity. So it depends on how much. And if that's too high and you can't put down money to actually make a difference, then you're going to need to stay and pay down that car for a couple more months or even maybe a couple more years to lower the amount of negative equity. So that's how you get out. That's all in my book. 3 ways to get out of negative equity. But what you got to know is the cause. Only legitimate reason for negative equity is because you had an emergency and you had to switch cars. Now, if we go by things that can be prevented, like Deshone, I bought a car, it's breaking down. Well, that means you bought the wrong car. We can prevent that with knowledge. Now, if you say, Deshone, I just wanted a new car and I switched it, that's costing you. And because you don't understand leasing, see, 90% of the time, 10% we give to emergencies. Deshone, man, I had a sedan, then I had twins, I had triplets. I need to get an SUV. I got to switch the car. Understood. Legitimate reason. Switch the car, stay in it long term, pay off, and keep the car. But 90% of the time, it's you don't understand leasing. And you buy your cars, you take out 5, 6, even God forbid, 7-year loans. You switch these cars in 3 years, 4 years, you always have negative equity, and you're overpaying by thousands of dollars. That's the cause. That is the cause. I've been doing this since 2006. The reason for most people, most of your negative equity is because you haven't learned the lease yet and you're buying cars, but you're a short-term person. All right? And the more you stick around here, the more you'll understand why that's a mistake. If you get my book, you'll understand, oh, I've been doing this wrong. Now, I was taught this. I don't blame you. You were taught that. But when you learn, when you do better, when you know better, you do better. And that is my goal, is to make sure you know better. My pleasure, Reggie. Said thank you for everything. My pleasure. Absolutely. Everything I'm teaching y'all is out of my new digital book, Cars from Home. 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. You can get your copy for 75% off as part of our launch in my TikTok bio, in my Instagram bio, or you can go to deshonsbook.com. There's a link in the comments, or you can scan the QR code if you're watching us on the television, and you can get your copy for 30 minutes. Once that timer expires, book goes back up to $97. So get your copy before the timer runs out. Go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one up. All right, this one's from YouTube. Appreciate all of your content. Thank you. We are looking to buy our teenage daughter her first car. Is there any downside to purchasing outside of a name franchise dealer? No, if you do your due diligence, because there's 100,000 plus used car dealers in the country. Let's assume 80% of them are trash. As long as you are sorting, when we shop for used cars, and you want to ask yourself the eight-year rule question. If you're not keeping this car, if you don't think your daughter's keeping this car 8 years, then you should be shopping for a lease for her. Now, if you say the only difference, there is one exception to the 8-year rule for those of you who are buying inexpensive used cars. $10,000 used cars, $7,000 used cars, that's different. That's different. I call these smart cars, not the little smart cars. It stands for saving money at the right time. So if you're buying these cars, my brother does this. He buys pre-owned cars. He gets them $10,000, $7,000, $5,000, and he drives them. He pays very little money. Sometimes he sells them and makes a little money. That's different. But the mainstream cars, if you're not keeping them 8 years, $15,000, $20,000 used cars that you're buying, you're going to see the 8-year rule is the gospel. You should be buying cars if you're keeping longer than 8 years. You should be shopping for aggressive leases if you're not keeping 8 years. So let's assume you're going to keep this car 8 years. When we are buying from used car dealers, y'all, we are absolutely shopping 100-mile radius, at least. That's usually where we start. And then we're going to search, and we're going to narrow down based on title history, based on service records, based on accident history. And then we need to verify that the price that they advertise online is legit, because there is something going on right now. It's been happening for a few years. They know you're looking for online prices. So what they do is they put a price online that they don't intend to honor. So the first thing, so we narrow it down based on those things. And when we get to this final step where we got our top 3, top 5 choices, we need to see who's going to do bogus fees, who's going to try to hit us with bogus fees, in which case we eliminate them. And then we narrow it down to the best one. And we need to pull the original. Listen, who's going to be buying a used car? I want you to type a U. If your next car you're keeping for more than 8 years is going to be a used car, type a U in the comment. In the comment section. Or if you purchased a used car in the past, type a U in the comment. Type a U in the comment. Okay, Snowman, I see you. Felicia, I see you. Miss Bambi, I see you. Reginald, I see you. Okay, so we got a lot of people. Okay, all right, we got a lot of people who are going to be buying a used car or have bought a used car in the past. What I just told y'all is how we're going to talk about how we're going to get a quality used car. Plus, I do something, step 4 in my process is we have to do a longevity check. Some of these cars have data that shows they don't last more than 80,000 miles before the transmission goes out. If you don't know that, then there's nothing you can do but be surprised when the transmission goes out at 78,000 miles. So we always want to do a longevity check on Google. We search these things. But the other way, what I just told y'all is how we make sure we're getting a quality car. Accident, title history, service records, accident history. But when it comes to now the value, Deshone, how do I make sure I'm actually getting a great price? How do I make sure that the car I'm buying is the best price in the market? We need to know the original price of the car. We need to know what the car was brand new. Because what you've been taught is to focus on what the website tells you. Is this a good deal? Great deal, below market. Because websites, their job is to be accountable to the people paying them. And if they were telling you that this car that you're looking at for $30,000 was originally $38,000, and it's actually only being discounted $8,000 from when it was brand new. If they were telling you that, then no one would be buying those cars, in which case no one would be paying them to list their cars on those websites. So they're not accountable to you or me. They're accountable to who pays them. So we find out through the window sticker what the original price was. Carfax has agreements with some brands where they will actually give you the original window sticker, but we must get the original window sticker. And when we get the original window sticker, that's going to tell us the discount with something I call the true value percentage. We created this. The true value percentage is the discount from the price when it was new. And that's all that matters when you end up choosing a car. Give you an example as we wrap this question up. If you're looking at three Honda Pilots. You've narrowed it down to 3 Honda Pilots. They're all within $1,000, $1,500 of each other. One's $30,000, one's $30,500, one's $31,000. Similar mileage, similar title history, similar everything. We get stuck right there. We don't get stuck when we get the original window sticker and we see that one of those Honda Pilots brand new was $45,000. One of them brand new was $49,000. One of them brand new was $53,000. You see how immediately access to that information separated the value? They all look similar. Type dollar signs if you got that revelation. If you understand that just that bit of information. I'm looking at 3 cars, they all look similar. Dag, they all look good, similar mileage, similar price on these websites. Which one do I pick? Man, I'm stuck. Knowing the original price, one's 46, one's 49, one's 53. The one that's 53 immediately becomes way more valuable than the other 2. That's what we're talking about. See, it's my job and my mission is to show you how to car shop online, show you how to master the science of car shopping online, show you how to make people bid for your business, and to show you where the hidden money is that you have not been trained to see. Everything I'm teaching is in my book. I don't hold back on these lives. You guys can tell. But if you're like Deshone, I want all this information in one place. I want to be able to use this as my car shopping Bible for the rest of my life. Digital book, Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealership is in avoiding dealerships in my TikTok bio, in my Instagram bio, and it's 75% off as part of our launch. Get your copy, use it, and win. All right, let's go, Dolan. Shoot the next one in. Great questions today. Let's go. Keep typing them, y'all. We're going to try to get through as many as possible. How many miles can you drive a leased vehicle? Great question. Many of you were taught that you have to take what they give you. Or some of you were taught they only do 10,000 miles a year on a lease. All of that was bad information. You pick the mileage on your lease, and there are leases that go up to 30,000 miles. Now, some of you might say, well, who drives 30,000 miles a year? Who drives 25,000 miles a year? If you drive 25 or 30,000 miles a year, type HM in the comments for high mileage. So when you think about that depreciation curve that I told you about, your car's value normally, if you're a normal driver, your car's value goes down like this. If you're a high mileage driver, your car's value goes down like this. And so the mission is always to avoid the unseen. This is the unseen expense. I want you to always keep this in mind, because as long as you keep this in mind, buying versus leasing is going to be paramount to you, because you want to avoid this. If you're buying cars 2, 3, 4, 5 years, switching them out, you're switching them out when they're losing the most value. But long term, the value cools off, the depreciation levels out. You don't lose as much value over the years. Some of you have cars that's been outside for 8, 9, 10 years. That car is going to be worth about the same amount it's worth today, a year from now. You've won. That's the goal, to get to that level. If you're buying, if you're like Deshone, I'm not keeping a car 8, 9, 10 years. I'm not going to ever reach that level. Then you should be shopping for leases to avoid the depreciation hit. So when it comes back to 83rd degrees question, you can tailor a lease up to 30,000 miles a year if you want. And here's where I learned this. I was a manager at Hyundai for 6 weeks. Guy came in. He was returning his lease on a Hyundai Sonata. I was doing the lease return for him. And I said, hey, you leased this? He said, yeah, I always lease. I'm in sales. I'm on the road. every day. I used to buy my cars, and I would have a bunch of negative equity all the time. I was just losing thousands of dollars every time I went to replace the car. It wasn't worth what I owed on it, and I just kept rolling it over. I stopped doing that when I found out about leasing. Now, same time he's telling me this, I know that I've also sat with people who came in with high mileage with 10, 15 grand of negative equity. So what he's telling me, I've experienced, and I'm trying to help these people and dig them out of this hole and help them get another car, but they have a ridiculous amount of baggage from the old car. So he told me that, and I saw his payment, and I said, man, this payment is only like $175 a month more than a really good deal on a regular lease. And so from then I understood. I'm going to teach people that you need to understand, if you get a great lease deal and then you bump the mileage up from 12,000 to 22,000 or whatever you need, you're going to pay thousands less than if you bought the car and just took that depreciation hit. You bring that car back with 75,000 miles in 3 years, the car is worthless, but you still owe $17,000 on it. That's the difference. So leasing mileage, you pick it, and you can customize it up to any amount. But we always shop for 12,000 miles a year. Always. We don't shop for high mileage leases. When we get our quotes, if you're using what's in my book, the 25 to 5 strategy, we get our quotes with 12,000 miles a year. And once somebody wins the bid, then we convert the bid. We tell the winning dealer, hey, could you show me what the payment's going to be with 18,000 miles a year? And then we customize the lease. If we're going to do any down payment, we always customize after we've identified the winning dealer. Great question. Great question. Go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next one out. Great questions today. All right, keep typing them, y'all. What advice would you give a first-time buyer who doesn't want a car note? Then go save up your cash and go get the best car you could afford. But why is it we always, Whitney, just send an email to support. If you're having trouble getting your book, just send an email to support. We'll send you a copy manually. Oftentimes it's a little one letter is different in the email. So that's why as soon as you purchase, I always give you that support email so that we can make sure you get your book. Okay? But what advice would you give to a first-time buyer who doesn't want a car note? Save up your money, get the best car you can afford. But here's what I want to ask you. Why is it that the only time we want to avoid a monthly payment is with a car? We don't say to the electric company, I don't want a monthly payment. We don't say to the water company, most of us who are buying a house, we have a mortgage. Most of us who are renting, we pay rent every month. Why is it that the only thing that we say we don't want a monthly payment on is a car? Why? Now, I'm not telling you paying cash for cars is bad, but I'm telling you that if you're dealing with a mindset that is, I'm going to pay cash and save up and get a car that is less than a quality car because I don't want a monthly payment. So I'm going to get a car, save up, scrape together some cash and get a car that is less than I could actually get if I used a little leverage, little loan. See, there's something called over leveraging. I'm going to take a 7-8 year loan to afford a car. That's called over leverage. That means you're trying to get a car that you truly can't afford, but you're going to use the bank's money to actually do it. That's over leverage. That's like going in and saying, hey, I'm going to get a 50-year mortgage because I don't want to buy a $300,000 house, $400,000 house. I want to buy a $600,000 house. So I'm going to get a 50-year mortgage so that I could afford the monthly payment. When you do this, there's, again, cash buyers. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm concerned with the mindset, the reasons why. Because the reasons why it makes sense to pay cash is to avoid the interest if interest rates are high. 7, 8, 9%, you want to pay cash? Great. But there are people who come into the dealer. I was blessed to work in some very affluent towns, white collar and blue collar towns. So I had people making 30, 40,000 a year. I had people making 30, 40,000 a month. And what was interesting to me is those who were able to afford paying cash for the car could write a check, because when I would ask them, how are you going to pay for the car? They would ask me, well, what are the rates? If I had a 0% interest rate or 1% or 2%, if their money was making money for them, they wouldn't put it into the car because they see the car as a depreciating asset. What does that truly mean? When I put $30,000 into the car, what is my $30,000 worth to me in 5 years? Let that sink in. Anybody who's paying cash for a car, if you're bringing money out of stocks where you're getting 8%, 7%, 10%, bringing it out of real estate where you're getting 10%, 12%, 15%, when you put that $30,000 in a car, what's that car worth in 5 years, y'all? What is a $30,000 car worth in 5 years? Average miles, 60,000 miles driven on it, 30,000. What is it worth in 5 years? Throw some numbers out there. Throw some numbers out there. Let's see. See what we come up with. My guess is 30,000. Knew that car in 5 years is probably worth like 14. Okay, Pink Butterfly said 13. 19 is too generous, I think. 17, 12. See, some people may be confused about this seller's market we had for 3 years because you might have just sold the car in 3 years and made some money over the last 3 years. That market's gone. So you might have really said, Deshone, I bought a car for 30 and I sold it in 3 years. I sold it in 2022 and I got 23 for it. Well, that's never going to happen again unless we have another, worldwide inventory shortage, in which case resale values go up. Normal market, yep, 12, 13, 14, 15 generously. So a person who's looking at their cash and what their cash is doing for them, they look at that. I put that money in my car, 30,000. That money could have been in the market, and that 30,000 in 5 years could have earned me another $6,000 of interest, $7,000. In which case I'm up. But at that 30,000 in the car is worth now 15 or 14. So these are the things. I don't teach one size fits all. I teach custom. I teach it depends on what you're doing with your money. If your money's invested and interest rates are low, then leverage a little bit. If your money's not invested and you're like, Deshone, I got my money in the mattress, I got my money in the bank, I'm not really doing anything with it. All right, pay cash, keep things low. Keep things low. If interest rates are high, pay all the cash, higher down payments, get the loans out of here faster. That's why, see, one size fits all car buying advice, I hate. That's what has failed you. This one size fits all formula. Everyone should do this. Everyone should pay cash. Everyone should get a used car. That one size fits all, no one should lease. One size fits all formula fails every time because it doesn't take into account real finance. All right, go ahead. Great question. Go ahead, Dolan. See, and I'll answer the question and then go into a little spin-off answer. All right, this one's from Instagram. If I want to keep my car for 8 years, should I finance the car? Absolutely. The goal is to get the best car and the best value. So if you can't pay cash and you say, I want to get a better car, what I teach is when you start budgeting, you are going to now see, can I get a new car or is my budget for a used car? The goal is to get everything you need. And really, if you could get everything you want, even better. What's the difference, Deshone? Well, needs is I gotta have 3 rows because I got 4 kids. Needs is I need a car that has enough power to get me on the highway because I'm on the highway a lot and I can't have an underpowered car. That's a need. A want is I want the leather, I want the big sunroof. So you must get all your needs at all times. You cannot sacrifice needs. I want y'all to put these 2 things into very important buckets, needs and wants. Needs and wants is the goal. Once the budget gets compromised, once you get out there, if you see I can't get the car I want with everything I need, everything I want, the wants have to scale back. The wants have to scale back, not the needs. I had a woman walk into Mercedes when I was there, and she was like, hey, I want the big truck because I got kids. I need the 3 rows. And once we worked out the deal and the numbers, she saw the numbers and she was like, oh, that's above my budget. But what about the 2-row one? What about the smaller one? I said, didn't you say you need 3 rows for the kids? Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. See, she's about to take a need out to get a want. Does that make sense? So needs and wants are the big things. Needs will make you switch the car because you didn't get what you need. And when you switch the car, you lose money. So when you didn't get what you need, you will switch the car and lose money. If you didn't get what you want, that's easier to bear. Needs is like from day one, this car is not doing what I needed to do. So we must get our needs first. And that's what we talk about. So then you choose, can I budget, get me a new car or a pre-owned car? And once you make that decision, you just go out and you're now shopping the market. I use, in my book, I have something called the multiple marketplace strategy. This is when we shop for used cars. We're on all the marketplaces. We're seeing the whole market as one big marketplace. Everywhere cars are, we are looking and we're narrowing it down to our best, top 3, top 5. And then we're taking one across the finish line. You can't get below market deals on a used car until you see what the market is. See, let me go deep on this for a quick second. The goal for me, if you're learning from me, your goal is to get below market deals, below market leases, below market. You saw Freena's lease. That's a below market lease. That's not a lease that you see advertised that people are getting. So below market pre-owned cars. In order for you to get a below market pre-owned car, you got to know what the market is. So sometimes you're going into one dealer and you're looking and saying, okay, let me negotiate with him. That's a mistake. You don't know what the market is. When you see the low side of the market on a used car, now you're able to see, again, if you're shopping the right way, there's always a spread because there's always people untrained who are going to pay the higher prices. They're going to walk into those dealers. They're going to go back and forth, take $2,000 off. They think they won, but you were negotiating with one of the higher price dealers. So because he took $2,000, $3,000 off, you think you won, but you were at the wrong dealer to begin with. So once you actually see the low side of the market, we zero in on that. And we zero in on that, and we look to take one of those deals across the finish line. Can't get below market deals if you don't know what the market is. That's why when we look at used cars, we're not looking to buy the first day. We're not looking to buy the second day. Sometimes some of you are like, Deshone, I got a couple months. You might want to watch the low side of the market. You might want to, we always get alerts. When we go in, this is all in my book. If you like Deshone, I want to know all of this. I need this in my hand. It's in my book, Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealers. 75% off in my link, in my bio, TikTok, in my bio, Instagram, or go to deshonesbook.com or scan the QR code. But when we are getting these, when we are looking at the low side of the market, you might want to watch it. You might want to watch it and see, okay. And then we have alerts on. So every new car that pops up on these marketplaces, we get an email immediately. So we get an email immediately. And if I know that the low side of the market is 22, 23, the minute that car comes on, I'm going to be one of the first ones on it, where everyone else is going to hesitate. When a dealer gets a new car, typically a person who doesn't know the market, they're going to go in there and they're going to be like, all right, is this really a good deal? Meanwhile, we know the market. So we know in a minute, I'm going to snatch that deal before anybody even knew it was there, because the best deals do not last. And that only comes from knowing the market. All right? Go ahead. Shoot the next one up, Dolan. Great questions today. This one's from YouTube. What can I do to increase my confidence so I can negotiate more intelligently? Stop negotiating and start making people bid. Who's not a good negotiator? Type me. You're not a good negotiator. Type me in the comments. Not a good negotiator. Type me in the comments. Okay, that's most of you. And I'm a good negotiator, but you can't get guarantees being a negotiator. Pay attention to what I'm saying. I'm a good negotiator. I did it for a living, but I can't guarantee the lowest price negotiating. The lowest price the guarantee of the lowest price. I could be a good negotiator. Negotiator is always going to leave wondering, if you go back and forth with somebody, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, you always leave wondering, could I have gotten a little more? That's not a guarantee. That's not price assurance. Bids, guarantee, because I'm getting 5 to 7 offers. I'm having in my case, I teach the 25 to 5 strategy. We're connecting with 25 dealers. We're getting 5 to 7 bids. Whoever wins the bid, win. That means you beat 25 dealers to earn my business. That means I guarantee that I paid the lowest price and I don't have to talk. That's why in my book are scripts, online scripts. That's the one part that I can't teach you. I can't teach you. It's not that I'm holding back. I can't teach you what my scripts are that are copy and paste. When they say, hey, when can you come in? My script says, hey, well, I'm actually going to be handling my whole transaction online. Oh, actually, well, we don't quote online. Okay, that's not what other dealers are saying. Should I remove you from my list? See what I'm saying? When we're copying and pasting and we know what to say to everything they're going to type, now we move things forward. We keep it on our agenda. This is all in my book, in my video library. This is what the people who have learned from me for the last 3 years have been doing. That's why you see people like Frina. That's why you see people like Pierre, got himself. He came in, got a 22 CX5. Very big thanks to Deshone the Auto Advisor, educating and empowering me to control the entire purchasing process. The perfect budget calculator really helped me figure out what I could realistically afford. With the true value percentage, we talked about that earlier in the show. Everyone purchasing a used car, true value percentage is what we use to make sure we win, price-wise. I spotted the best deal, 6 similar listings, saved over 20% off the original MSRP. I also shop for my own financing. See how we break these transactions down? You see how he's breaking the transactions down? That's how we get bids in each category. Also, I shop for my own financing, got the dealer bank to match it. See? So we're not doing the shop for my own. Oh, I'm not going to let that dealer run my credit. He knows the bank bidding war. The bank bidding war is all these people are going to bid. So I guarantee I got the best price on my used car I bought. I guarantee I got the best loan because the dealer couldn't beat it, but they were able to match it, which means it saved me the time. I didn't have to go through that. And the dealer, see, we guarantee. That's what I want for y'all. And the icing on the cake, learning about bogus fees and walking away from dealers not willing to remove them. Now, the walking away, he's talking about not physically. He's talking about next, not physically, because we're home. We're not going into dealers walking away. Some of you say, Deshone, if I don't get a good deal, I just walk away. That means somebody wasted your time. And when you walk away, you still need a car. So you're not hurting the dealer when you walk away. Someone's going to buy that car, even if it's overpriced, and they're going to look at you and say, well, you still need a car, so it's really your loss. When you learn to do this while you're in your living room, you'll understand I don't need to walk away ever because I'm in control. No one's going to waste my time. And this only comes from mastering the science of shopping from home. That's why my new digital book is called Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. Go get your copy for 75% off. Use it. Everything is in there, from high mileage driving strategies to leasing to giving you a video to help you understand leasing. Some of you are like, Deshone, I was taught all my life never to lease. If that's you, type me. What you're going to see is I link you to a video from the Cars from Home library where I actually break down for you leasing versus buying. So by the numbers so you can understand. Some of you, that's what it's going to take. You've been programmed so bad about leasing, you need to see it by the numbers to understand that this is costing me money, not understanding this. So that's in there. Purchasing, high mileage driving strategies, links for people with bad credit, and how you're going to get your cars even with bad credit. It's all in there. Get your copy for 75% off for the next 30 minutes. Once the timer expires, it goes back to $97. And win. Use it and win. Listen, we're an hour and 15 minutes in. We want to keep these broadcasts, these episodes. It's episode 1. If you are subscribed to my email list, you'll know when we're live. You'll know when we'll be doing these shows, and you can hop on with us. We want to do because you see all the questions. The only way I could get through all the questions is by giving y'all little short, little one-word answers. What is that going to really do for you? So yeah, we might only get through 15, 18 questions because I'm giving you the thorough answer. And when you see that a car is the second most expensive purchase behind a house, you'll appreciate the thorough answer. No one's going to buy a house and ask about financial literacy and expect a one-word answer. So we shouldn't do it with cars. When cars, we're going to buy more cars than houses. So get your book, y'all. We will be back. We'll be back for another episode very soon. If you're on my email list, you'll know. And I appreciate everybody for tapping in. This is episode 1. We got a lot more coming, and we're going to keep dropping these jewels. Keep unlearning, keep relearning. For the people that got the book, thank you. And for the people who continue to help share this message, appreciate you. We'll see you on the next one.
The worst possible thing you could say when you walk into a car dealership. I spent 5 years with Mercedes-Benz, 5 with General Motors, and the worst thing a person could say when they walk in is, if you could just get me to this payment, we got a deal.
So your loan's probably still like 19, which means you got to pay to get out. You're upside down. It's called negative equity.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome. How's audio? Give me a 1 if audio's clear. Welcome back to Car Shopping Questions and Answers. This is episode 2. I'm your host, Deshone the Auto Advisor. We do these live shows to make sure you know the secrets, the science of car shopping online the right way, and know where the hidden money is. I spent 14 years in the car business with Mercedes, General Motors, and 4 years running my own brokerage, and now the mission is to make you smarter, make you better, help you pay less than everyone else for cars in less time shopping from home. So this whole show is sponsored by my new digital book. It's called Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. And you can get your copy for the next 30 minutes at 75% off in my TikTok bio, in my Instagram bio, or you can click deshonsbook.com or scan the QR code. So type your questions in, Dolan, shoot the first one up. We're going to be taking them from all platforms. And if y'all could start tapping that screen on TikTok, so shoot those likes up. I appreciate it. So this one's from Instagram. Does it make sense to buy a car from another state to get a better price for the car? Great question. When you start shopping and getting multiple offers, you're going to see most of your best deals are going to come from dealers far away. Not always. But a lot of times the dealers that you've been buying from, they think they own you. They look at your zip code and they program people to come in. The average person shops 1.2, I think it's less than 3 dealers. So when car dealers know you only are going to shop 2 dealers, then they know they can control you, and they know they don't really have to be as aggressive. Now, when you start sitting at home, like I want you to do, and start letting those offers come to you, and start looking at car dealers, like start looking at all the inventory and getting multiple offers, you're going to find most times the best deal's 45 minutes away. Your best deal's an hour and 20 minutes away, because those people are trying to beat their competition. So you're going to you get used to that. You're going to step out of the local business and you'll get used to actually getting your best deal. Here's the saying. We'll wrap this question up with this saying. You buy your car from who makes you the best offer, AKA who wins the bid. If you're new here, we make people bid for our business. The more time you spend with me, you'll never negotiate again. You'll start making people bid. And the second part of it is you service your car where it's the most convenient. You service your car where it's the most convenient. You buy your car from who makes you the best offer. All right? Great question. Shoot the next one in, Dolan. Everybody keep typing your questions. I see you on TikTok. We're going to bring questions in from every platform. Go ahead. This one's from Instagram. Should you buy a car from a rental car sales place like Enterprise or Hertz? First of all, that would be low on my list. They'd have to, and look, I'm not telling you anything's wrong with that. What I'm telling you is that should be low on the list. When we're looking for used cars, rental cars should be low, and they got to be better priced than the cars that are not rentals. So I'm not going to Enterprise looking for what they have. I'm going on market. We use 8 marketplaces, y'all. When we shop for used cars, I have something called the multiple marketplace strategy. Multiple marketplace strategy is like it's you going everywhere, looking everywhere that used cars are. Example, if you were buying a TV, would you walk into Walmart and just say, all right, let me just look at this TV y'all got. All right, y'all want $1,000 for it? But no, you would be online looking at Walmart.com, right? Amazon, Best Buy, and any other website with a TV, right? Type right if that's the way you would shop. You look at someone who just walked into Walmart and say, why are you shopping like that? You see, so we bring the same things to car shopping. Same things. You're going to stay at home and you're going to go on these websites. CarMax is in the running. Carvana's in the running. None of these people we buy from exclusively, they must win the what? Let's go. Type fast. I want to see y'all typing. I want to have this conversation with y'all, but you got to type fast. They must win the bid. So CarMax is there, Driveway's there, Carvana's there, Cars.com is there, Auto Trader is there, Car Gurus is there. We even look at eBay Motors. So everywhere they're shopping, they're putting inventory. That's where we're looking. Now, if a rental car place has their inventory listed there, then they're in the runnings. If they have their inventory listed on their little website and they just want to sell local people these cars, no, we're not interested. We're not interested. Great question. Go ahead. Go to the next one, Dolan. This one's from TikTok. Is an extended warranty worth it if you buy your lease? I don't get why so many people are buying their leases. Make it make sense to me. Used cars. If you're not, see, we're finding that a lot of people buying their leases because they actually don't know how to shop. So when you look at the deals that we get, you look at you in the last broadcast I showed you Freena. You've seen Greg, $527 a month, $56,000 Kia EV6. You've seen Tope, $690 a month. She leased her car, $690 a month, $54,000 BMW. Now I know y'all are looking like no, there's no money down on these particular deals, and saying, oh well. If everybody's putting, if these don't look like the deals I see on the commercial, that's because they're not. You're not going to get great deals looking at commercials. Ignore commercials. But we found that people are buying their leases because they don't know how to shop. And that's not a reason to buy your lease. Because what you're doing when you buy your lease is you're buying a used car. Now, let's just say you're buying this car and you're keeping it. Because sometimes you say you want to keep the car. 8 years, I have something called the 8-year rule. We do not buy a car unless we're keeping it for 8 years. Why? What's the reason? Because the depreciation is going to ruin you. So when you look at somebody like Tope's paying $690 for a $54,000 car. Every $5,000 a month, every $5,000 that you borrow on a loan is about $100 a month. Depends on the interest rate. For a 5-year loan. 5-year loan. That car would cost somebody about $1,100 a month. She's paying $690. See what I'm saying? So when you look at the fact that that's probably what a used BMW payment would cost her, but she's driving a new one for that. So if we're not keeping our cars 8 years, this should be your mission. Shopping for a deal like this, not buying a used car that you've already been leasing for 3 years, and now you're about to put a loan on it for 5 or 6 years for the balance. Does that make sense? We are not tying up our time in cars. It's only two purposes. I'm going to get a great lease deal, or I'm going to buy a car I'm going to keep for 8, 9, 10, 12 years. That's it. I want to get you from being stuck in the middle. Go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next one up. People stuck in the middle lose money. Long-term buyers don't lose money. Great lease deals don't lose money. It's those people, if you're stuck in the middle, you're the one losing the most money, and we got to get you from being stuck. Go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next one and keep typing your questions, y'all. All right. This one's from Instagram. We purchased a car just under a year ago. Would like to release it and get something more suitable. Okay. Watch this. When you purchase a car, see, I'm always going to remind you of the unseen expense. When you see this, y'all know, if you've been on the show, this is your first time on the show with me, type a 1 in the comment. Because I got to see if I'm refreshing people or if I'm actually teaching. First time. I don't want to say, if you're familiar with this, then you know this, when everybody on here, or most of you on here, are brand new. Okay, Susan, I see you. Justin, I see you. First time people, first time. Jay Malav, I see you. Okay, Sean, Go Entertainment, I see you. William, I see you. Christy, I see you. Okay, a lot of first time people on here. All right, so whenever you see me do this, picture, this is the unseen expense, depreciation. Let's explain this real quick. When you buy a car today for $30,000, what's that car worth tomorrow? For those of you who knew, you may not know, we got to type fast because I don't just talk at you, we have a dialogue. What's a car worth today? You buy a car today, what's it worth tomorrow? You bought it for $30,000, what's it worth tomorrow? Let's go. Could y'all keep tapping the screen on TikTok? Keep running those likes up. I appreciate it. As y'all tap that screen, y'all let TikTok know we having serious conversation over here and more people need to be here. Just keep tapping that screen, running those up. I appreciate y'all. Okay, so we got 29. That's not true, Sean Go Entertainment. But I want to let you know, you may have said that, but when you see the other answers, you'll understand. You buy a car today for 30, it is not worth 29 tomorrow. You lose about $3,000, $4,000 if you tried to go back and change that car. So this is answering this person's question who purchased a car just a year ago and would like to go and replace that car. $26,000, $24,000, $25,000. Depends on what the new market is. Depends on what this, but yes, you're going to lose probably 20% of the value in a day. In a day. In a year, you don't drive that car a year, you probably lose total of 20%. That's what you have to understand. You got to understand this car's value. I don't care what your payment is. Payment doesn't change the value of the asset. See, you've been taught, look at the payment. Get me out of this car, get me into this payment. That's why in the intro, some of you saw that video, the worst thing you could do in a car dealership. That video is really what introduced me to the world and letting people know payments can be manipulated, and we don't focus on payments. We want to focus on the asset, the value of the asset. So if you're buying a car, it's going down in value like this, whether you drive it or not. I give you a car today worth 30, you don't drive it 1 mile. Don't drive it 1 mile. I come up to you, I say, hey, Christy, I'm giving you this car, it's $30,000. Deshone, I don't need a car, I already have one. Yeah, but it's yours. Okay, I guess, but I can't drive it. All right, no problem. I come back a year later. You didn't drive that car 1 mile. Is it worth 30,000? Is it worth 30,000, y'all? Type fast. No. That's your intro to depreciation. So if you know that that car is going down in value, whether I drive it or not, what's happening when I drive it 12,000 miles? More, it's less, it's worth less, right? What's happening when I drive it 20,000 miles? It's worth less, right? Exactly. So you want to be aware of the depreciations, the unseen expense. So how the heck do we avoid the depreciation hit? One, you don't buy cars and replace them when they're losing the most value. You don't replace a car when it's losing its most value. Now, here's how you avoid the depreciation. You're going to keep long term. When you keep long term, so who has a car outside right now? You've had it for at least 8 years. Type me in the comments. If you have a car not at least 8 years, type me in the comments. Now watch this. I see you, Simply Cam. Okay, I see you, Rob. 9. Okay, I see you, William. I see you, Jay Malone. Okay, could everybody hit that share button if you're getting value out of what we're doing? If you've been on a broadcast, this is what we do. No one's having these conversations with you. Share, because your friend will be mad if they find out you've been listening to me, using this stuff, saving money, and you didn't tell them, and they out here getting killed. Tag one friend, they'll thank you. When you consider the fact that those of you who are on here who said, Deshone, I got a car out there, I've had it for 9 years, 10 years, a year from now, that car is going to be worth about what it's worth today. That means you won. That's the long-term purchase. That's the keeper. You got to ask yourself, step one in my book. Step one in my book is the most important question. My book is called Cars from Home, 7 Steps of Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. It's a digital book because I update it as the market changes. 7 steps. Everything I'm going to teach you is out of those 7 steps. The first one is the most important question, which is, how many years are you keeping the car? If your answer is 8, then I created something called the 8-year rule. You should be buying your cars because your goal is to get to the point where you're like these people that I just asked. The book is in my TikTok bio. Somebody said, where can you get the book? It's in my TikTok bio, 75% off for 30 minutes, which normally $97, but for everybody on here, you can get it for 75% off for 30 minutes in my TikTok or my Instagram bio, or you can go to deshonsbook.com in the comment section, or you can scan the QR code if you're watching us on TV. So you have to really focus unseen expense. See, why do I have to spend more time educating you on the unseen expense? Because it's the unseen expense. When you just said, when you just did this math with me and said, Dad, I'm losing money, and I haven't been trained to see the money I'm losing. That's why you'll go buy a car and replace it in a year. Because they're switching your payments. They're not switching. They're not telling you the fact you lost $7,000 of value. They're just going to manipulate the loan, put you in a car payment you can afford, and get you to sign off on it. We're done. You're going to understand these numbers because cash buyers would never do this. Cash buyers, if you paid 30 for a car and you came back in 2 months and they said, look, we can only give you 24, you wouldn't do the deal. But payment buyers, you're the one they fool. You're the one who can't see the money. And that's why I have to teach you to see this. So this is where you want to be. Either I'm going to keep my car 8 years. Now, some of you said, well, Deshone, I'll buy used, so I don't have to take that depreciation. But I'm going to tell you something. Buying used is not going to, when you compare, that's not the solution. Buying used or new is for long-term people. 8+ years. Buy new if you can afford to buy new. Buy used if you want to knock 20, 30, 40, 50% off your purchase price and you don't need the latest and greatest. Doesn't change that if you're buying, you should be a long-term person. If you are not an 8-year person, you should be shopping for great lease deals. And I'm going to tell you why. Look at Danielle. Look at Danielle. Danielle leased an Audi, $44,000 fee. And I'm explaining to y'all why you've been taught, well, I'm going to buy used, so I ain't going to take that type of hit. But I'm going to tell you, I'm explaining something to you real quick on how that's not the answer. Leasing is the answer. She leased an Audi A3, $44,000 vehicle. She's paying $550 a month, and she gave her first payment. She said with her first payment down. Now we're going to not use down payment anymore as a term. We're going to start saying total out of pocket. We want to eliminate down payment. Down payments can be flipped up. Sometimes you say I'm going to put money down, they don't include your tax. So we like to use total out of pocket. But she gave him $550, she drove off. That vehicle, she's driving a brand new A3. Now I want you to picture this. Danielle pulls up to somebody who's driving the same exact car, but they bought it. Every $5,000, some of you know, is about how much a month. I talked about it a little while ago. Some of you might have seen the video where I said it. Every $5,000 on a purchase, on a loan, is about how much per month. Let's see if anybody knows. Okay. I can't wait too long. We got to type that $100. And again, I can't sit here and act like most of y'all aren't new to me. So I'm not going to assume you have even seen any of my previous broadcasts. So I'm just going to tell you the answers. Yes, Susan, $100. So it depends on the interest rate. 5-year loan, that vehicle right there, $44,000, will cost somebody about $950 a month. You see why we don't have to wonder why people have $1,000 car payments? It's not that hard to see. They're buying their cars. So now Danielle pulls up in her Audi. Let's stay with the scenario, right? Danielle pulls up in her Audi, 44. She's paying $550 a month. Somebody next to her pulls up in the same exact Audi, same exact car. They're paying $950 a month. Now, third person says, I buy a used one. And you can replace the Audi with anything. Doesn't matter. You could be a Rolls Royce. The scenarios are not going to change. Could be a Honda Accord. Somebody pulls up and they bought a used one. So instead of 44, let's say they got a good price on one. Say they bought one for about 28, 29. Found a good price one, 3 years old. So they're pulling up in a 3-year-old one. And what I just say, every $5,000 is $100 a month. So what's their car payment if they paid 29? Almost 600. You see what I'm, so now let's just talk about what we're driving and what's coming out of our household so we can hammer this home. I'm not on the fence about leasing versus buying. And you have to get off the fence. We've seen enough scenarios where we know this is the case. One person, Danielle, got a great lease deal. She's paying $550 a month. Another person buying a brand new one, they're paying $950 a month. And they might take a longer loan. Oh, Deshone, I'm paying less. They might take a 6-year loan, and let's say they're paying $850. And then another person is driving a used one, and they're paying $600 a month. Not even a question. It's not even a question. Do y'all see what I'm talking about? 3 people driving the same car. Look at the differences. So depreciation and resale value is what you need to be aware of. These people think they win. That might have been you, Deshone. I'm the type, I bought my used cars and I keep switching them. Now, those 2 people who bought them, if they were keeping them 9, 10 years, that's a different story. It always goes back to the 8-year rule. Okay? You must understand, if I'm keeping 8 years or longer, I buy. If I'm not keeping 8 years, I shop for great lease deals. Not even a question. And you'll be mad. You're going to be mad when you find out how much money you've been missing. Some of you probably getting mad now. Dad, I was always taught don't lease. Well, those people owe you some money. Those people owe you some money because they've cost you thousands of dollars. Go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next one up. This one's from TikTok. What's your advice of getting rid of late fees? Don't be late. You can call the bank and see if they'll waive any late fees, but late fee is assessed when you miss a payment. That's it. TikTok, does my credit have to be top notch to purchase automobiles with 0 down? No, it doesn't. It needs to, listen, when you are, hang on 1 second, y'all. Hang on 1 second. When you are buying vehicles with no money down, it's not a favor. It's not a favor. There's only 2 people who can't get vehicles with no money down. And that's people who are trying to borrow too much money, usually have negative equity that they're trying to roll over, and people who have, your credit is too bad and you can't get financing. But if you go through a company like Limbuzz, this is who we recommend in my book. I recommend this company, Limbuzz, who will work with people with challenged credit. Then you won't have to deal with that. The whole point is controlling your own financing. You want to control your own financing. Now, we don't do that by getting pre-approvals. We do that by getting multiple bids. We do that by finding our car and then letting banks bid. I know you may have heard, I don't want any hard inquiries. You don't want hard inquiries until after you found your car. Once you actually find your car, it's okay to get multiple banks to give you a hard inquiry. And they allow this. Experian has an article where they talk about the rate window. You can actually have multiple people run your credit in a short period of time, but no money down is not a favor. It's not something you did me a favor. It's definitely not a deal. See, because if I gave you a car, it's worth $50,000, but I charge you $60,000 for it, and then I say, well, you don't have to do no money down. Is that a deal? I gave you a car, it's worth 50, but I charged you 60, but it's no money down. No, absolutely not. So no money down has nothing to do with a deal. The only people who can't get no money down are people who it's usually a case of you have too much negative equity. You're bringing over from your old car and you're messing up the loan to value ratios. That's usually the cause, because a bank won't let you finance 40,000 on a car that's worth 30. They won't let it. Go ahead, shoot the next one up, Dolan. This one's from YouTube. Deshone, so does it make sense to get a car to have over? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This is all you should be doing. If you are a long-term person, listen, whose car is a keeper outside? You have a car outside, you've had it for 8+ years. Outside. This is exactly the goal. This is the goal. You want to actually be planning on that. Because when you actually have your car for more than 8 years, when you know you're going to keep your car for more than 8 years, you do things to make sure, like we do a longevity check. This is step 4 in my book. One of the things we do when we know we're buying a car we're going to keep, we got to go to Google and we got to see what the data is on the car we're shopping for. It's very simple. I type in the year of the car. Very important. You can't just type in Nissan Sentra, longevity. You got to type in the year. And then you're going to type longevity to see what the actual data says on the car. We skim those websites. It'll tell us if the car has transmission issues. It'll tell us if people report that this car has, is reported to last not as long as most cars. So these are the things that we do when we know we're keeping a car 8 years. But if you're not thinking about this, then you're not going to do the things to guarantee, because you could have a goal to keep a car 8 years and then the car you bought is not known for lasting that long, or is not known for, being reliable at 8 years. So that's why it's the most important question right up front. It's not just for leasing versus buying. It's for programming yourself that this is a long-term thing. I want to make sure I get the right car. I'm not going to get a car that doesn't satisfy my needs and my wants when I know I'm keeping it a decade. You understand? That's the whole thing. But absolutely, plenty of people on here keep cars more than 8 years. But there's plenty of people who don't. Those are the ones who need to stop buying and start leasing. Go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one up. TikTok, what are the best leasing companies deals out there to get out of negative equity? Oh wait, we just had 2. We'll do this one from TikTok first, and then we'll shoot that next one up. What are the best lease companies deals to get out of your negative equity? It's hard to say that because great lease deals aren't advertised. So when you see any of the deals, you see Danielle's deal, you see, look, Freena's deal. In this particular case, she just got this Jeep Grand Cherokee, $579 a month, $65,000 vehicle. She didn't get that negotiating. She got that by getting bids. So when you get these great lease deals, they're not advertised. There's no one who's raising their hand saying, we'll do this deal for you. That's not the way it works. We shop the market. Now, if you're doing it my way, you're sitting at home and you're getting offers. In my book, Cars from Home, I have all the scripts that teach you how to get offers on cars in literally minutes. So you'll be getting your best deals on these cars. It's going to take you hours. It's going to take you minutes sitting at home, wherever you're at, to get these deals. Once you see that, if you're moving a lot of negative equity over 5, 6, 7,000, and you don't want to do any money down, you're going to typically need a car that has higher rebates. So it's no way to know that, because we just don't know what the lease deals are going to be. So I wish Freena didn't know when she was shopping for this Jeep that it was going to be an incredible lease. Greg didn't know. We don't know until we actually go out there, because we don't pay attention to what am I trying to say? Advertisements. We don't pay attention to advertisements. So hold on one second, y'all. All right, we don't pay attention to advertising. So I wish, and I've had tons of people ask me, Deshone, is there a way that we can see great lease deals? Is there a way we can see who has the best rebates? No. The only way we can see it is by shopping the market. It's the only way. I wish it was easier, but it's not. But once you learn to shop the market in 60 minutes from home, it's easy. So if I'm looking for a deal and I know I got to roll negative equity, or if I'm gonna sit at home, I'm gonna get my offers. I have something in my book I call a 25 to 5 strategy. The 25 to 5 is when we connect with 25 dealers online, we get 5 offers. Takes us 60 minutes. You could do it your way. You could call around and you could try to get multiple offers, but you must get 5 because 80% of dealers are overpriced. That's my way's better. Eric Pitts, this one's from TikTok. Can I use the bidding to refinance a car loan? I have good credit now. 100%. 100%. They give you a window. Now, you should only need 2 days, tops. You Google every single, and let's talk about refinancing. As many people bid as possible. You got a window of 14 to 45 days. You'll be way under that. It'll weigh as 1 inquiry when you finalize the loan. It'll weigh on your credit score as 1 inquiry. But you must do it because, why do you think there's companies that just want to loan us money? The money business is very lucrative. There's companies and banks and credit unions that only want to loan us money. They don't sell cars. That should be a hint. There's a lot of money in lending. So what we need to do is take shopping our loan rates seriously. We separate our transactions. So listen, let's stay focused here. You're gonna now call your bank. You're either go on their website, your credit union, or go on their website. You're gonna look for online lenders. Go on their website. You want as many people as possible competing to make sure you save all the money. But I'm going to give you a very important caveat here that you want to keep in mind. Everyone that loans you money wants to loan you more for longer. The longer you have a loan, the more money they make. So what they're going to do is they're going to show you what it looks like if you take a long loan. You've already paid for a year or 2. I don't know how long, but you've already been paying for some time. Once you take another long loan, now you've essentially defeated a little bit of your purposes because you're going to give some of that money back at interest. Take the shortest loan that you can afford the payment on with the new interest rate. So if you were paying, let's say you had a 6-year loan at 11%. When you refinance, don't refinance into another 6-year loan at 7%. Refinance into like a 4-year loan at 7%. Whatever that payment is that you say, all right, I could afford that payment. Because they're going to try to sell you on the low payment. Well, if you do 6 years, you could pay $300. Yeah, but you can always pay it off earlier. Don't fall for that. You want to make sure you look at what's the lowest, shortest term with that new interest rate so you can get that loan out of there faster. Okay? That's how you do it. Good question. Shoot the next one up, Dolan. All right, so this one's from YouTube. Milton. So back in 22, I purchased my dream truck. 2023 GMC Denali, brand new. I don't depend on trading it, and my monthly payment's $1,095. Let's not forget the truck is $83K. Am I paying too much money? Well, I don't know how long the loan is. So you could be paying $1,095 for 8 years. You could be paying $1,095 for 5 years. You see what I'm saying? So that's why payments are not always the important payments. How much did you pay for the truck? You understand? See. It's the price of the vehicle that we focus on, not with leasing. I don't want to see what you got to be. And this is why I want you to have my book, or you got to be locked into what I'm saying, because I'm talking to a lot of different people on here, and your scenario is not another person's scenario. So you can't hear what I'm saying when I'm talking to Milton about purchasing and think, well, I'm shopping for a lease. He said, don't focus on payment. No, Different. Okay, so when we're talking about purchasing, the most important thing is how much we paid for the asset. Now, I don't know what you paid, and I don't know how well you shopped. I don't know. So there's no way. And here's the thing. The way we buy cars is by design. We don't know. When you start getting bids and it's done, I'm going to just assume, let's just say, I'm not going to look at your deal and dissect it because I don't have enough information to do that. And plus, if the deal wasn't good, what good is it me what good is me? It's your dream truck. What good is it me? I mean, what good am I going to do telling you overpaid for it anyway? So let's not ask questions that could lead to hurt feelings and long-term remorse for our dream truck. But for the rest of you who are shopping and for the future, because Milton, your family's going to shop, you're going to shop again in the future. The way you've been taught to shop guarantees you never have price assurance. Price assurance means I don't have to ever ask if I could have paid less because I got bids. Negotiator, if you're not a good negotiator, type me in the comment section right now. Deshone, I'm not a good negotiator. I hate it. I don't like it. I'm an introvert. It's not for me. I feel like I always get the losing end of the stick. I just feel like, people take advantage of me. I'm too soft-spoken. Whatever reason. All right, Susan, I see you. All right, Christoph, I see you. All right, Jay, I see you. Okay, so when we look at negotiating, I'm a good negotiator. I did it for a living. But one thing I know about negotiating, why I will never shop this way, and I don't want you shopping this way, is because you cannot get price assurance. You can't guarantee you pay the least price when you're negotiating one-to-one. When you go into the supermarket and you see you're getting spaghetti sauce, there's 7-10 companies trying to sell you spaghetti sauce. They're all like, hey, hit me this week, Prego, I'm on sale. Vitellini, I'm on sale. Hey, Ragu, it's they're competing. Everyone competes for our business except car dealers. Everyone wants to compete. So the reason why we can spend money on these other items and we never have buyer's remorse is because we've seen so many options. Y'all get it? We've seen so many options. I knew I didn't overpay. If I told you right now you got to go buy a 100-inch TV and you got to guarantee you don't overpay for it, you're going to be like, Deshone, I can do that. Why? Because you know where to go. I'm going on this website. I'm going on this website. I'm going on this website. I'm going to guarantee I get the best price on the TV. I'm telling you, bring that same thing to your car shopping. That'll eliminate your buyer's remorse. That'll eliminate you ever asking, did I get a good deal on this? Hey, did I overpay for this? Hey, could I save more money on this? Get multiple offers eliminates it. And there's no other way to eliminate it. Okay? So don't worry. I'm sure you did well, Milton. Enjoy your truck, man. And just know that whatever, I'm going to get better for next time. I'm going to make sure my family knows that they never got to ask this question. Every vehicle I buy, I'm going to make sure that I get bids, multiple dealers. I'm going to get enough bids to guarantee that I teach to get 5. In my book, I have a strategy, 25 to 5 shopping strategy. This is for new cars and leases. We connect with 25 dealers online. You're using all my scripts. You're using everything I tell you to type, copy and paste in my book. And you're going to get at least 5 offers, 5 to 7. Once you get those offers, you're going to see about a $3,000 to $5,000 spread minimum. Now, if you take somebody like Kimberly, now Kimberly's spread was $20,000. This is Kimberly. She emailed me. She's in our private community in my private coaching program. She said, how do I respond back to this? I don't want to get mad. She responded via email. You see, the MSRP on that vehicle was $86,961. She got a Maserati. Selling price was $66,261. $20,000 discount. This is why we don't get happy about any discount until we see all the offers. Because if she would have saw a $10,000 discount, Deshone, I'm saving 10 grand they're offering me. Okay. Is that the lowest bid? Well, no, I mean, but I just walked in. The dealer said they're going to give me 10 grand off. See how we could lose? We don't know what the bottom is. But when she gets her 5 to 7 offers, now she ends up saving 20 grand. It's different for every car. But if you don't get 5 to 7 offers, you won't truly know the bottom. And she's guaranteed. She has that price assurance. So we got to get bids. You could do it my way, which is the easy way, 60 minutes from home, using my scripts for new cars and leases. Different strategy for used cars. Or you could do it your way, which is calling around, stay in your house, call, talk to some sales managers, get 5 bids. It's up to you, but you get my book for 75% off. Get your copy, 75% off in my TikTok bio, and you'll have all my scripts. You use them for the rest of your life. All right, go ahead. Shoot the next one up, Dolan. All right, keep typing them, y'all. We're gonna get through as many as we can before we wrap. We got a good amount of time left, so just keep typing. What are some loan companies that work better with challenge credit? Well, I usually recommend Limbuzz. Limbuzz is a company that they're a startup. I think they've been around for a few years now. They loan to people with really challenged credit, and they loan to people with no credit. So again, if you got bad credit, you still need to ask yourself, how long am I keeping the car? Because if you say, Deshone, I'm keeping my car 8 years, then you should be buying your car, best car you can find, quality car, refinancing the loan when your credit's better. If you say, Deshone, I'm not keeping my car 8 years, then you should be buying the least expensive car you can get a loan on, driving it for 2 years, that's your sacrifice car, and then flipping out of that car into a lease. So the most important question is step one, always. It doesn't matter if you have good credit, bad credit, high mileage driver. The reason why in my 7-step program, the first question is, how many years are you going to keep the car? The 8-year rule question, that doesn't change. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter what your scenario is. 8-year rule is the question you ask yourself first to determine if this car is going to be a long-term purchase, in which case, buy it, great car, refinance later when my credit's better, or short-term, not keeping 8 years, but I don't qualify for a lease right now. So therefore, I'm going to buy the car, buy an inexpensive car to prevent a lot of negative equity later, because some people, you end up buying a car $30,000, you're paying a high interest rate,